All right, all right.
Yeah. Um, First, when you say solitary confinement, otherwise known as the shoe, uh, those are different things. Yeah. Well, and this needs to be this needs to be, understood. The shoe was sold as a program. Solitary confinement is solitary confinement. The shoe was sold as a program to improve quality of life. How that coincides with you being locked down 47 and 1, I don't understand. But, it was 4 levels of quality of life within the shoe program. Solitary confinement was based on disciplinary actions, but they merged it and got away from, I guess, the objective that they tried to put out there to the people. And so
Um, so what I'm gonna do while I edit this is kind of interpret or reinterpret what's being said here. Basically, solitary confinement we all know to be that disciplinary act that basically puts you in solitary. You by yourself somewhere alone for a certain period of time. And he said the shoe was basically a program disguised as no, it was solitary confinement disguised as a program. These guys in prison, man, these law enforcement people, they really
they merged it and got away from, I guess, the objective that they tried to put out there to the people. And so the shoe became disciplinary action. So, but so the question that you asked is how was it action? So, but so the question that you asked is how was it in there, or what was the question again?
Um, you had said before that you find yourself doing things
Exactly.
you normally do.
Yeah. The shoe is famous for a lot of different things, and the shoe is famous. Exactly.
Normally do.
Yeah. The shoe is famous for a lot of different things, and the shoe is famous for a lot of guys throwing feces on other individuals, um, whether it be maybe COs and stuff too, urine, and but for me, I didn't engage in that. And particularly what I was talking about as far as me finding myself doing things that I wouldn't normally do is a lot of self-talk. I would actually think that I was like a star of a movie, and I would like play this movie in my head, and over and over. And if I fall asleep, I wake back up and try to, that was like entertainment for myself. And if you think about it, as a child, that's things that we would do as a child. So they actually put me in a situation where I reverted back to, my imagination and things. Also, I found myself very critical about myself, because one thing about being in solitary confinement, you can't run from you. So I had to address myself, and it's kind of like a self-inventory. And this is where I actually discovered a lot of things that I actually loved about myself. And I discovered some things that I didn't like about myself. And I also discovered that I was kind of like fronting on the streets. And what I mean by that, I was kind of like wearing a mask. The things that I was engaging in on the street really wasn't me. and stuff. So taking that mask off and having to deal with you is a really, really difficult task. You know, people always ask people why you go to jail and become Muslim, why you go to jail and become Christian and everything. Well, there's a pathway to spirituality. And if you define spirituality, spirituality is having a relationship with oneself. So if you're confined for so long, you're gonna have a relationship with yourself because you're gonna find out who you really are. So
Could you describe what a cell in the shoe looks like?
a cell in the shoe is metal. Metal concrete. And for me, particular, the shoe program here in Delaware, I was taken to the shoe program in 2009, December 2009. No, excuse me. I was taken to the shoe program December 2008. And so when I was taken down there to the shoe program, your property, you don't have your property. So you don't have the state issued uniforms. You don't have maybe some commissary that you may have borrowed. You don't have the personal letters that people may have written you, particularly, you know, family members like your mother, you know, your kids or whatever. So when I went in there, I had a t-shirt, state issued t-shirt, state issued pants, no socks, and a pair of, we call them cruisers or duck heads, fish heads. And that was the sneakers that we had. And nothing else. I had my Quran, and others may have their Bible. And completely nothing else. So you have a bunk. The bunk is single in the shoe. Because normally in most cells you have metal bunk beds. But in the shoe they're single. So you have that, and you have a very narrow window. A very narrow window with a cage on the outside of it, like a grate cage, and there's a narrow bar in between that. And in the shoe you also have a closet, a metal closet from floor to ceiling. And then after that you have a metal desk that comes out of the wall with a metal stool that's bolted down into the floor. And right there, you have your toilet that's attached to your sink. And you have a ventilation right over top of that. And then you have your door. And there's a narrow window in the door, and there's a flap that you get fed through. And so they come through, they tell you back up. They tell you back it all the way up, and they put the tray. The trays are really like thick, and people write on the trays like they carve stuff on a tray, so you know who's a snitch, you know which side of town is up in here or whatever like that. It's a whole bio on the trays, and they're like that big and they're a little deep. They're deep, but you only get that much of a portion. Go figure. But so essentially, you're confined to a bathroom. That's where you live at, in a bathroom.
And can you talk about how they break up that time?
Yeah.
They let you out an hour, what is it, 3 times a week? Or not even?
Well, you know, I always say
I wish I could name. I guess I can. Find
the individuals, whether it be maybe CEOs and stuff too, urine and myself, and and it's kind of like a self inventory.
Name. Finding oneself.
Daddy, me and Osman are playing against a hacker.
Be very. This needs to be,
We can't.
understood.
You literally
The
have
shoe
to
was
figure it out
sold as
so
a
we had to start
program.
cheating. We just couldn't kill each other.
Shoe. Sold.
I died. I died because I was looking at a thing. It's literally just this. I'm not saying go to men. It's gonna break. It's gonna. I'm gonna build up. Build. Yes.
Sure.
You lose the concept of time. Literally, you.
By the time.
I actually first experienced solitary confinement probably when I was 13, and I was in Newcastle County. And so what happens is,
Wait. I missed it.
3 times a week, or not even?
well, I always say 47 and 1, and because everybody. I always say, yeah, lock down 23 and 1, but in all actuality, we lock down 47 and 1 because what you just said, three times a week, and so what happens is, depending what door gets cracked first, because you only can have like 3 or 4 people out at that time, because you have 2 cages inside and you have 2 cages outside. And so the first person, whatever they select to go to first, is going to dictate where everybody else goes to. And so this hour gets breaking up into quarters, 15 minutes, and which is basically 10. And so when you come out, when you go to the door, they let down that flap, so you turn around, you put the shackle on, you put the cuffs on you, then they put the shackle on you, and so you have, say, if I was first, I would select to go to the shower, which nobody selects to go to the shower first, because for some odd reason, if you select to go to the shower first, you gotta go back in. Which is, I don't know why that is kind of like, so no one selects to go to the shower first. So if you're the last person that on that rotation, you're basically gonna go in the shower. So so now but you have to take all your things that you need, you have to take that with you. So you have your shower stuff and everything like that. But for the first, like I said, the first 15 days, you don't have your property. You don't have nothing. So so somebody like probably next door to you probably would have slid a half a bar of soap to you underneath of the door. So this is what you go in the shower with, the half a bar of soap. So now you're coming shackled, and you go in one of the cages. One cage has a phone, the other cage has a pull-up bar, and then there's 2 cages outside. And like I said, I came down there in December, so I had no socks, no nothing. And depending how I fall in that rotation, I'm outside in a half a foot of snow. and there's no knocking on the glass to try to come back in. You have to be out there for that duration. There's no, you know how they used to tell you as a kid, don't be running back and forth. It's like, there's no running back and forth. So you're literally in this cage, and you begin to pace. There ain't nothing else to do. And you feel kind of awkward because the tiers are, the housing areas are double. They're double tiered, so all eyes is literally on who's in the cages. Because we have no entertainment. So now this is the entertainment, who's in the cages now and stuff. So we're literally in the cages, and you get the pace and stuff. But we're we're resilient. So we may have pull-up contests when you're in there, like who can do so many pull-ups. So you hear the guys cheering you on and stuff and everything. And stuff. Funny thing, there is a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of unity.
Hurry up before I define it.
Especially before they.
Unity inside of prison. Right? Go ahead.
You mentioned before that, especially before they give you your.
What happens is depending.
For those first 2 weeks, that you even had to wash your uniform in the shower.
With that half a bar of soap.
And then hang dry it with no other clothes.
Yeah, you will be naked in your cell. Now you would have probably, you can have your blanket wrapped around you or something like that though too, or a sheet. But basically you're naked, and for some reason there's always a security check. Or a sheet, but basically you're naked, and for some reason there's always a security check, which is a shakedown, and so which is very invasive, the shakedown. I'm gonna be as transparent as I can be, and so during the shakedown and stuff and everything, they come in there, which is mind-blowing because there is nothing in your cell, completely nothing in your cell. It's concrete and metal. So in the shakedown, they come through and they tell you to lift up your privates, your genitals. You gotta lift them up. You gotta squat. You got to spread your behind cheeks and cough. And I don't know about anybody else, man. I ain't doing that shit. So here now I become a problem because I don't feel comfortable with you looking inside of my private area, because there's no other justification to this but humiliation or abuse of authority. There's no other justification. What am I going to be able to put up my behind? So, but yeah, this is what happens, and so then you're told to get your stuff off the vent, the very stuff that you had to wash out. It's.
How often do they do those shakedowns?
Every day. Every shift.
Wow. How has your experience impacted you?
But as far as physically, emotionally, or all of them?
All of the above.
Like I'm really, to be honest with you, I'm starting to feel like a little bit of anxiety right now.
Yeah, I want to start.
And nah, we're cool. We're gonna go. We're gonna go. And you know, I'm who I am. Like, and you know, it gets hard when you think about it, and you think about the people that you left that's still having to go through that. You know, I was locked down on this bit here. I was locked down for 13 years. And I spent 7.5 years in isolation and max. Isolation, shoe, maximum security. 7.5 years off a 13-year bit. I wore orange. You know, they, for whatever reason, they think that the security checks, that, you know, that the humiliation, well, the humiliation didn't stop me from getting stabbed up. So what was your security check really for? You know, like, if that was the case, then I wouldn't have been cut from behind my ear down to the center of my throat. While 4 police officers were there, 2 of them taking off running away. You know, so, you know, it's this, it will break you. It will break you, but you can't show that it breaks you. And that's not for me to show my peers. It's for me to show them that they ain't breaking me. You know, because if it seems like once they break you, they continue to get you. They continue to hit you. They continue to hit you. And you can hear them mocking you. It's quiet at night in the shoe. It's quiet at night in isolation. They be doing the talking. And they talking about you. Or they talking about the person next to you. Or they talking about the person that had the code. They talking about the person that had the code 7 called on them. Because he couldn't take it no more. Code 7 being a suicide. You know, so it breaks you. It breaks you when you eat a boner with a person one night, and then he hanging the next. So, you know, it has its effect.
You made an important observation about how people who are in isolation internalize the shame of being constantly shackled and punished by often pushing their own families away when they do eventually get the chance to visit them. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for whatever reason, we think that we doing our family a favor by pushing them away or yeah. Yeah, for whatever reason, we think that we doing our family a favor by pushing them away or telling them not to visit or not calling, not reaching out and stuff like that. A lot of us, a lot of us live by that inside of there. Um, I think we lie to ourselves because I think that we're not doing our family a favor. We're actually trying to do ourselves a favor. That shit hurts, man. You know, one of the worst feelings in my life was to come in the courtroom and to look back, and the judge reading off my sentence. 20 years suspended after 18 years at level 5, and to look at my mother's face. You know, I'm 29 years old, but I'm her baby still. And it's just like damn. You know?
spoke before about one of the things. One of the many things missing is compassion. People receive bad news about their sentence, or maybe they lost an appeal, and nobody comes and talks to them.
Yeah. When I got incarcerated, this this particular bit, and I keep saying that because I've been locked up for probably over about 70% of my life. But on this particular bit, I got locked up. November. I got locked up November 7, 2008.
Close the door, EJ.
And you know why I laugh about that? Obama got elected into office. So it was like a really huge deal, and here I am going to prison. But when I got locked up, I feel I was broken, physically broken, because I had got into a high-speed chase and I was broken. And I remember coming from the outside hospital for quite some time, and then being transferred to the infirmary inside of prison here up Gander Hill, Howard R. Young. And this is the different layers about prison. The same person that you could have been shooting at on the street is the person that shows you the most love when you're down in the muck. So can you just imagine how extreme that the officers in this situation has to be in order for you to be okay with a person that either you tried to kill or he tried to kill you? You understand what I'm saying? Like, so I can remember when I was in the infirmary that he actually lives right down the street here. He's from right here, forklift down bottom. And I can remember him coming to me, sneaking me snacks and stuff in the infirmary, and telling me, like, yo, hold your head, Sonny. Hold your head. Don't let him win, bro. Don't let him win. This is my enemy. My young boy's op. This is my... And he told me, don't let and stuff. And I feel so broken and so ashamed of, like, coming back to prison when I thought I was on a path that was going to amount to something. And so I went into this, I finally got out of the infirmary, went into the cell. Shouldn't have got out of the infirmary at that time. I had shattered ribs. I just had numerous injuries. And so I was angry, like, and I didn't know how to process these feelings. And that's why I was talking about the balance and the compassion. We have a mental health staff. For what? You know, so I had this, and I displaced it. And I ran up my points, which led me to going to the SHU program. And so yeah, that's how that process been. But just imagine if you coming back from court and they just gave you 50 years in prison, and you go back to your cell. They don't say, Perkins, man, you want to use the phone? They don't say, Perkins, do you need someone to talk to? They say, Pop 1, go ahead, lock it on in, man. Lock it on, lock it on in. I ain't had my food yet. They ain't even feed me. Lock it on in, man. I'll see if I can get you a court sandwich. I got 50 fucking years. And I got to sit here with that? I'm on the bottom bunk while my bunkie on top. He got 6 months. So what you think going to happen after that? I'm going to display some shit. It's just uncontrolled chaos. this this particular bit. And I keep saying that because I've been locked up for probably over that everything that they tell you is a lie. That there's no evidence, no way, shape, form that this is gonna make me better.
About solitary confinement.
Well, what ordinary people should know? That everything that they tell you is a lie. Why would that make me better? You keep your dog on a chain out back. What you think your dog gonna do when he get off that chain? So why do you think that's gonna make me better? You gotta be a strong dude.
Why do you think we should? Should end solitary confinement?
Because it's cruel. It's just what I just said. It's there's no way that you can be any type of a human being that try to give any justification for locking another human being in. If you go to Delaware Code, any person that's held against his will, that is called kidnapping, falsely in prison. That is a charge. That is breaking the law. So somehow you got the green light to break the law on me. And you say that this is okay? How?
What are some of your hopes for the future?
That they dismantle the whole prison system. That they dismantle the whole prison system, that they dismantle the whole law enforcement system, the whole ideal of authority. Not saying that we don't need it, but you gotta break it down. That they dismantle the whole prison system. So if the ideal of the prison system came from Quakers, we far removed from what that is then. Because they the softest catchwork on earth. So you gotta dismantle it and build it back up. I want to say something. I just want to say, like, to everybody, like, people that ain't never experienced nothing like this, when you get in your bed at night, just think about what they doing when they locking in their cell at night. I don't care who you are as a human being. I don't care who you are. When you're in an authoritative position, you will get drunken with being over egotistical and over machoism. And we gotta check that shit, man. This is another human being. And I'm gonna fight for my bros, man. I'm gonna fight, man, for them till the wheels fall off. And that's it.
Thank you.
Something like half hour to cut this thing up. Which one is this?
On prison, and that's how the KEY program and the CREST program was birthed. And this is a therapeutic community based on a hierarchy that holds one another accountable.
Has changed. The love and trust has suffered, more so than anything, because dealing with myself, I've been in jail 46 years, and when I came home, I met with nieces, nephews, and grandchildren, great-grandchildren that wasn't born, before my incarceration. So it was just a thing like establishing a relationship bonds with them individually, collectively, and everything, and learning them as a person. But in the process of me learning them as a person, individual, no one seemed to be interested in learning me as a person, coming home to the community after being away for 46 years, and coming home with high expectations and finding that there's really no love. That's the main ingredient that's lost out here, love. Everybody seems like they on the thing using, tricking, manipulating people coming home from jail. Because, people do come home and save some money, do come home, but it's like everybody's being used and manipulated by the family. Like in prison, you got the enemies on the outside, and you know who your enemies is. But they come home and find out, the enemies that within your family, that's extraordinary, and that's hurtful. Very, very hurtful, to see people like that, because everybody today had this hustler mentality, and that's what's going on out here for the prisoners coming home. But as I told you before, that when I was in Trenton, that inmate's going home. Older brother's been down like 35 years, so it was time for him to go home, and he didn't want to go home, so they had to send the goon squad in to extract him, to go home, make him go home. We down on third. Had to send the goon squad in to extract him. He didn't want to go home, so they had to send the goon squad like 35 years, so it was time for him to go home. And that's what's going on out here for the prisoners coming home. But as I told you before, that when I was in Trenton, that inmate's going home. Older brother's been down like 35 years, so it was time for him to go home.